All right, today's guest on the Rhino Zoomcast is a local guy, and I say local because this is a little stretch down I-20 from Lugoff, Darlington legend Orlando Hudson. Thanks for joining us today, Orlando. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's roll it back to Darlington. Let's go back to the high school days. You know, back in the day, we didn't have internet. We didn't have diamond prospects. We didn't have all this internet. We could just look up and see guys. So we did have the sports report, high school sports report, and your name was in there mid-'90s as one of the top prospects around. So you were three sports star at Darlington. What made you pick baseball? Was it because you were better at it or because you just loved the game?
Definitely I love the game. But, those are the glory days, man. Baseball is the Hudson family tradition. That's just my dad loved baseball, and once I graduated, he took football away from me. So he saw baseball as the best fit, and, he saw me as a future in baseball. So it was just one of those things. And, God looked out for me and protected me through all these years, and it worked out. So it's definitely a blessing.
Got about that. All right, you leave Darlington High School and you go to Spartanburg Methodist. A lot of guys have went that route. Mookie Wilson is one of them that went that route to make the major leagues. You got drafted twice, and the second time you decided to take the leap to the major leagues and go, to the minors. How was that coming from Darlington going to the minor leagues, the adjustment? I had Monty Lee on, the coach at Clemson University last week, and he talked about how he loved playing in the minor leagues. But how was the adjustment, the bus rides, the hotels in the early days? How was it for you?
Oh, man. Playing at SMC, playing for Tim Wallace was definitely a blessing, man. And Coach Wallace played in the minor leagues for a while himself. And then once I got drafted, coming to find out that a couple of my minor league coaches played with Tim Wallace in the minor leagues, and they was talking about how good of a catcher he was, and he was a great athlete, though he fell short, but he still played a long time. Playing for Tim Wallace taught me a lot. Now, every other weekend, these days, Coach Wallace come down to my place down here and shoot him a couple of deer, and he head back to Spartanburg. But now, man, back then, coming up through the minor league, leaving Darlington, a small town. It's small, man. It's cotton and tobacco. You right there in Lugoff, so you know how it is. And, we have is the racetrack. But, I was destined. I saw my future in the big leagues. Once I got to the minor leagues, man, I met some great guys, and, we still talk to this day. It was definitely a shock, when I went to rookie ball in Medicine Hat. You know what I'm saying? It was no black folks in the whole town at all. So it was just myself and four other teammates that was also Southern boys that we kind of bonded together, man. We stayed as a group. We was the only 5 African-Americans in the whole town of Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada. And it was a great time. And, I told my teammates, man, I said, listen here, fellas, y'all can party. I'm going to go out every once in a while, but I'm not trying to be in this minor leagues long, brother. So y'all can party all the time. Y'all do what you want, but I'm going to go out every once in a while, but I'm trying to get to the show. That was my, that was my goal. I didn't mind going out and having fun. You have to. The bus rides were long, and, by the time I came up, the bus wasn't too bad. We didn't have too many breakdowns. Maybe had 1 or 2 breakdowns. But other than that, man, it was just, once you build that bond in the clubhouse and you're with a great group and you're having fun, it kind of passes the time, especially when you're having a pretty good year. So that makes time fly. So, the minor leagues was fun. Wasn't too long. The guys were great coaches. So I'm blessed to be surrounded by great managers and great coaches too.
All right, so you played in some of these little one-horse towns in front of hundreds of people, maybe a couple of thousands of people. You know what the minor league circuit is. We got the Fireflies here, and we've had the Bombers before, the Columbia Mets, but it's only a couple thousand, or maybe some nights only a couple hundred. You get up, you get called up with the Toronto Blue Jays. What is it like the day you walk into the clubhouse and you made it? You walk out on the field to take BP, and you're looking around, and there's 40,000 or 50,000 seats, 60,000, and the bright lights are on, and ESPN cameras and everything. What is that like for a guy from Darlington, South Carolina, who, this is just a dream at some point becomes reality? How was that first day you walk out and there's bright lights?
Oh man, it was awesome. My first time getting called up, I was in Ottawa We were playing. I was with the Syracuse Scotch, which was the Blue Jays AAA team, and we were playing the Ottawa Lynx, which was the Montreal Expos AAA team. And we just had a big win that night. And Omar Malavey, who was my manager, called me in the office, and all the other coaches was in. And at first, he told me I got traded, and I like, what? He like, to the Devil Rays. And I'm like, well, my boy Carl Crawford over there. At least we'll win a couple of games, But it was great. So I got called up, and my first big league game was in Baltimore. Left my phone in the airport. Couldn't call anybody. It was a great time, man. I went 0 for 4, and the ball I got to me was my teammate that hit it to me from we played rookie ball together, Jay Gibbons, and it went right between my legs. But it was a great time, man. And I was like, you know what, man, this the show. This is it. It was a 1 o'clock game, and they told me, oh, you ain't going back to the minor leagues no more, man. You proved it. You played. You did your thing. Just have fun. And the guys that Vernon Wells and Shannon Stewart and Carlos Delgado, those guys welcomed me with open arms, man. And Roy Halladay, and so it was just I was relaxed, nothing to be nervous about, and it was fun. But the first time I played in Yankee Stadium, it was like, wow. That's when that's when I realized, like, you know what? This is the show here. This is the show.
That's got to be awesome to go and look up and see all that history at Yankee Stadium. Speaking of those teammates, I was going to ask you about 2 of them. Carlos Delgado, beast at first base, power hitting guy. Tell me a little bit about him. I mean, just whatever you got on him.
Man, Carlos Delgado, first of all, he's a businessman. That dude did more business than I ever seen before in my life. He was thinking about life after baseball, and he was already making $10, $12, $13 million a year. He taught one part of the thing I learned as a rookie, man, you got to look for life after the game. And you know what? He gave me a lot of advice about, businesses and things like that after the game and after you retire. And Delgado didn't like high pop-ups. He don't want no pop-ups at all. He told me to grab pop-ups. He wasn't going, he didn't like diving too much. He told me to get everything come in the hole, So he said, kid, get all the bunts. You just do you. You know what I'm saying? He said, get on base for me so I can drive you in. Definitely a lot of power. Man, he studied the game. He took notes on every pitcher. He took notes on every at-bat, between at-bats, how the pitcher threw him. He the first one I seen that did the cold tub like that in the hot tub, and the way he took care of his body. And, man, it was just a lot that he did, the way he took it to the game. And he's just a student of it, and, studying those pitchers and, hitting in front of him for so long, man, and, learning a lot from him. The things that he did on the baseball field, how hard he hit the ball, how far it went, was just jaw-dropping. And he was a great teammate, man. He took me by the horns, and, he taught me a lot, and he didn't take no mess from rookies. He's one of the veterans that didn't take rookies too much, man. But so I was a little nervous when I came in the club. I was looking at him sometimes. But you know what, man, we still talk to this day. And, after I got my first year and a half, 2 years under my belt, man, he was like, oh, it's yours now, brother. You can do what you do, man. You proved it. You deserve it. This is yours, and you can be here for a long time. You can play for a long time.
Well, speak about another guy who tragically we lost, the late, great Hall of Famer, Roy Halladay. What was it like, maybe his preparation, or I don't know, I guess y'all didn't do a lot of BP against the guys on your teammates, but what was it like watching Roy do work on the mound?
Man, it was his work ethic was relentless. I seen this guy run the whole stadium in Toronto. He run up and down the stairs, then he go outside the stadium and run 2 miles. Then he come back in and do an hour leg workout. He threw his bullpens like he was throwing a game. He studied every hitter like he was taking the SAT. He took it to the mound. He wanted the ball for 9 innings, not 5 and dive, not looking for 7 innings strong. He wanted to go 9 innings every outing. Man, he was a great friend. I still talk to his son every now and then. Braden, he'll be drafted soon. He's definitely doing some big things, Braden Halladay. He was just, man, the way he days he had to pitch, he'd be to the field at 11 o'clock with his undershirt, his game undershirt on, his game pants, and have his cleats on already. And it's 11 o'clock in the day, He didn't talk to anybody on game days, so I used to push him upside the head a little bit, try to get him going. I talk a little trash to him. I love playing behind him because I know I'm going to get 8, 9, 10 ground balls a game, throwing that nasty sinker.
Right.
Man, he was a joy to play behind. He was a joy to know. He was definitely a great friend. He loved to fish. We talked about fishing all the time.
Oh, yeah.
He loved airplanes. A lot of model airplanes like to fly around the stadium in Toronto. Man, he was just a joy. A lot of people couldn't get things out of him, but me and Doc chit-chat a lot. When Toronto traded me in 2005, he was the first phone call I got, and we talked on the phone like 20 minutes. He almost made me cry, man. He was like, "Oh, Mitch, man, how can I get back?" I'm like, "Dude, this is business. It is what it is." Then I end up facing him. I only got one hit off of him, like 8 strikeouts. Yeah, so he treated me like a little brother then. But we came together, man. So it was just, man, he was just a phenomenal teammate. I'm glad I was blessed enough to be in his presence and play behind him and win my first goal. He gave me my first goal. So many ground balls. No disrespect to other pitching staff that we had there, and Ted Lilly and those guys, but Roy Halladay, man, he throwing that sinker. They just kept hitting ground ball after ground ball to me, and I made a living off of it.
Well, speaking of that, talking about, the minor leagues, and now kid from Darlington living in Toronto, Canada. That had to be a culture shock for us we get maybe 3 months of winter, maybe not even that now, to go to a colder climate where, you're not wearing flip-flops and shorts more often than you are. You're wearing coats and hoodies and toboggans. Yeah. So what was that like, a shock for you living in Canada for those years?
Oh, man, it was definitely a shock. It was more shock, especially when I first signed and when I first came up, the way that Toronto was a melting pot of all different ethnic and religious backgrounds, man, and seeing black and white couples and seeing Chinese and white and Japanese and black and Jamaican and white, everybody just getting along. What Martin Luther King fought for here in the States, they were already doing it in Canada and nobody had a problem with it. It wasn't the who is who. It was just strictly love and, what they have. And, my family enjoyed it. And, I definitely enjoyed it, man. It was it's different. You get to try so many different foods. And it's just a beautiful, clean New York is what it is. Really? I love Toronto. I still do some things in Toronto for the Blue Jays, so some fan fest things like that. And it's great, man. It was definitely a culture shock, because, coming from Darlington, the railroad tracks in the small towns. Not in Toronto, man. Everybody's together, and they might have their different sections where everyone lives and all that. But downtown, it's just, one for all and all for one. So it's definitely different from the South than what me and you used to. And it's a good play. They love their hockey. And this past year, this past couple of years, with the Raptors winning the basketball, right. Championship, definitely was the town was rocking. I was there during that time and doing some things for the Blue Jays, and the town was just it was unbelievable, man. It was great stuff, and I missed Toronto. That was my first team. They gave me the first shot. They drafted me, and I was happy. It was blessed to make it to the big leagues with them. And so it was a joy with the teammates I had. And the city was still great to me. The city still showed me lots of love, man, and it's a blessing.
All right, so you get traded, which is probably the opposite end of the world. You go from Canada, that's a cold-natured area, to Arizona, where it's closer to 100 more days than it is, down in the cold. So how was that for you, getting traded to Arizona? What'd you like about Arizona, the weather, and the teammates and the time you spent there?
Well, Toronto, it was good because, we didn't make the playoffs because the Yankees and Red Sox were so strong then. By the time the end of the season, I got out of there before the cold came. But there was one season I had to come back during a winter storm in Toronto. It was unbelievable. It was just freezing like you wouldn't even believe. Then I get traded to Arizona, where you don't even need a coat sometimes. But at night, it does get, because the desert can get a little chilly at night. Mm-hmm. I wasn't used to the sandstorms. But I'm used to it now. It's a great place, man. It's very family oriented. Me and my family, we lived out in Chandler, but it's grown up now, man. And driving to the field every day was just a joy. I played for the greatest manager that baseball can see, within Bob Melvin, who's now a manager for the Oakland A's. My teammates with Brandon Webb and Stephen Drew and Chris Young, Justin Upton, those guys, and Dan Herron and Jose Valverde, Miguel Montero. These guys were just Eric Burns, who's now on ESPN and doing his thing on Fox Sports, and I'm sorry, MLB tonight. He doing his thing. So man, we had a good team. We had a great core with Tony Clark, who's now the leading guy in the front office for MLB.
Right.
Man, we had a great time, and the city was awesome. The city, and I still work for them. I'm in the front office now with Arizona, so I fly back and forth with Arizona now, and I do a lot with the big league team and the minor league team, and do autograph sessions and have fun with those guys. I'm out there the whole time doing spring training, and I fly in and out when the season starts, and so. But it's great, man. Arizona's like home. I'm close to the president, Derek Hall, and the owner, Ken Kendrick, and it's family oriented. It's a great place to raise a family. It's not too much going on in Arizona. Very low key. It's just an awesome place to be, man. Phoenix, Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona is an awesome place to live.
Well, let me talk about one of your teammates, another Hall of Famer, Randy Johnson. I know it was on the second trip back to Arizona later in his career. Maybe he had lost a little bit of that. What was it like, his demeanor? He always looked like a stone-faced businessman. When he was on the mound, he just wanted the ball and throw it 100. What was it like being around him, in a locker room or a dugout?
Well, you know what, man? Luis Gonzalez, who should also be in the Hall of Fame, man. He was my teammate, and me and Gonzo was together every single day. But Randy, back then, Randy was a little different, especially with younger guys, and we had a young team then. Randy then, if you done something in the game, he had a lot of respect for you, and by that time I got to Arizona, I was already a Gold Glover, and I was on the ballot for the All-Star team a couple of times already. Then I made the All-Star team, so I've done some things when Randy came over there. So he didn't like young kids in the training room. He didn't feel like youngsters should be in the training room, not on the training table, not in the cold tub, hot tub. So me and Randy did a lot of things in the training room together, getting our rub downs and our massages and all that. So we do a lot of talking. I had a talk with Randy one day, and I told him, I said, man, you got these young kids around here scared of you because the way you come in the clubhouse, you're stone-faced, and I know you about your business on the mound, but, let loose a little bit, man. So, the youngsters, I had to talk to the youngsters and say, hey, that's how veterans are, man. That's the way I came up with older veterans. They always stone-faced you. They got no way to put, young players, and, you got to prove something to this game for him to have a little respect for you. Though he loved his teammates, he just showed it a lot differently. Okay. But in the Johnson of today, you can't get him to be quiet. He talks an hour and a half nonstop now. He's in a different place in his life, and we work together now. So we do a lot of talking. We talk quite often. He's a different guy. He's a different guy now. He's a totally different monster than he was when he was pitching for all those years. And he's a great guy, man. Even then, he was a great guy. You just had to get to know him and be his teammate, and had to really dig inside because he was fighting some demons at the same time. But now he's in a different place, and man, he's awesome.
All right, so you go to Arizona, another Gold Glove, get recognized as one of the best gloves in the league, but you also make an All-Star team in 2007. What was it like going on the field, I guess, with the who's who of Major League Baseball? Not just the Randy Johnsons and the, Luis Gonzalez, but everybody. Your teammates with everybody in that National League locker room, the best of the best. What is that whole weekend like from the old timers game to the home run derby to actually playing the game on that Tuesday night? What is that like?
Oh man, it's a childhood dream come true. And I always say if I was a Little League All-Star every year and a All-Star in high school, All-Star in the minor leagues, I'm for sure gonna be a big league All-Star. And it happened twice, and it's not easy to make the All-Star game, man. It's but that's definitely a difficult feat to come across, and I was able to play in two of those, and being with teammates with guys like Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey and Albert Pujols and all the greats of the great, man, and getting a chance to pick this guy's brains and talk about hitting and all these kind of things and learn some things from those guys. It was definitely it was awesome. It was a blessing. It's like nothing you can even imagine. And the All-Star weekend it's tiresome. I didn't realize it'd be that tiresome, man. You up early, breakfast, the parade and the home run derby, and you go home late at night and play the game the next day. And it seemed like it's too rushed. And, NBA All-Star weekend, they get like a whole week off. And, a Pro Bowl, you get like a whole week or 2 weeks. And MLB, it's like 3 days and you're back at it. So you don't really get to enjoy a lot of festivities, man, because, you leave the game the day before, then you rush out to the All-Star game, you play that, and you try to get as many festivities as you can, and you want the family and the kids to enjoy it. And then everybody's just tired. And then once the All-Star game is over with, you fly back out. Some guys flew back out that night, or you fly back out next morning, and you right back to the next city and start a 3-game series. And it's tiresome, but it's a joy to be around all those great minds at the same time and enjoy the festivities and meet some of the old-timers who paved the way for you, who fought hard for you to make the money for you that we make today. And, and listen to those guys and tell you how the game was back then was even tougher than when I came up as a rookie. And you just enjoy those stories, man. It was, people don't, we watch baseball, but they just have no clue about the way the game was played back then in the locker room talk and the clubhouse talk and, the airplane talk and, the serious conversations we have about, how can we get better and then, how can we help this game for the future? So there's a lot goes on than what you guys get to see on TV.
Right. All right, so you leave Arizona, you go to L.A. You got any good memories about your time in L.A., or what was your best memories about going to play for the Dodgers? Storied franchise from years back and then on up to now. What was your life like in L.A.?
L.A. was good. Not my type of lifestyle, though. I'm a country boy, so I ain't got time for the Hollywood lifestyle. So me and my family, we lived out in Pasadena, home of the Rose Bowl. We lived there, and, it was awesome, man. And loved playing in front of 60 grand a night, putting on the same uniform as Jackie Robinson and African-American myself and playing second base for the Dodgers and being able to meet his wife and his daughter and have and know them and, do some functions with his family. And though he's moved on to a better place, he left a legacy behind. And, it was definitely a great feeling putting on that, pearly white uniform, that Dodger blue, and, hitting for the cycle, at home on opening day in front of 60,000 people and also hitting in front of Manny Ramirez. And, that was awesome. And being a teammate of his with just the funny stories he have and, the way he took to the game and the way he studied hitting was spectacular. And playing behind Clayton Kershaw, man, one of the game's best now. And, hitting in front of Kemp and Andre Ethier and Rafael Furcal and Juan Pierre leading off. And, it was awesome, man. It was an awesome lineup. It was an awesome time. And, I did my due diligence there. And I had one of the greatest hitting coaches you could ever have as, had Donnie Baseball, Don Mattingly. From him, man. So it was a great time in L.A.
What about that cycle? 3 of the 4 hits were off of Randy Johnson, right?
Yes. The home run and the single off Randy.
That's a pretty good feat.
Yeah, it's a pretty good feat. Yeah, I hit the triple off my ex-teammate from Arizona, Brandon Meadows. Okay. So it was a great day. It was a great time, and that was something that I would definitely cherish, man. It was awesome.
Well, you got your second All-Star game in L.A. and then another Gold Glove, your 4th Gold Glove. You move on to Minnesota, another whole different. You've been all over from top to bottom, to left to right. Tell me about playing for the Twins.
Oh, the Twins was fun, man. It was the first year of that stadium. In outdoor, I played in the old stadium before. It was the indoor stadium, and then all of a sudden they put it outdoor. I'm like, man, it's cold there, But it was good. Hitting in front of one of the best young hitters in the game, and Joe Mauer. It's a great friend. Justin Morneau, but he got hurt that year with a nasty head injury. Michael Kodai and had Denard Span leading off, and it's a great lineup. We fell short in the first round to the Yankees that year because there was another powerhouse with with Jeter and A-Rod and Cano and all those guys, and we had a great year, and a lot of fun, man. It's great. I lived on Lake Minnetonka out there where they made the movie Color Purple at. So every August I would go fishing, and when my family is there with me, I take my kids and everybody, and me and the wife and kids, we went fishing out there, man. And, the kids had a great time and we enjoyed it. And, Minnesota was a great place also, man. It was fun. It was a lot of fun and a great lineup. It was an awesome stadium and packed house every night with being a new stadium and having Jim Thome, who was a Hall of Famer in the lineup also, learning a lot from him and talking a lot about deer hunting, but it was good.
Cool. So you moved back after that season, you moved back out west. You go to the Padres.
Yeah.
So you go to the Padres, and not the biggest of fan support all the
No.
time, but a nice climate, an 80-degree day for normally a moderate climate. So, what was it like, playing in San Diego?
Wasn't fun at all. That caused me to lose the love of baseball. Playing there, man, got hurt a few times, and the clubhouse wasn't good, and it just wasn't fun at all. It just that whole atmosphere just took baseball out of me, and it was a great game to play. I love the sport, and just going there, I just lost it, man, and it just wasn't fun. I didn't like going to work there, and I was looking for ways out for being there, and it's just bad to talk about. So I try to leave that part of my career off, just being in Arizona. I mean, I'm sorry, not Arizona, San Diego. It just wasn't fun. It wasn't baseball at all.
All right. Well, and then you end up with the White Sox.
Yeah.
That's what you finished with. I guess that's another big city, Chicago. You end up in
it is
Chicago. So how was that for you?
It was good. I had my man, good friend Jake Peavy and Adam Dunn on the team, so we always talk about fishing and hunting and and things like that. So we had a lot of fun there, man. A great city, great restaurants, great place to be. You can't ever get enough of Chi-Town. Chi-Town is a great place, man. Chicago was good. Chicago was good, man. I remember a moment I had there. I hit a grand slam on my oldest daughter's birthday, who she'll be going to the University of South Carolina in the fall. So I had a grand slam on her birthday. That was awesome. It was fun going to the club. Those guys, man, it was a great clubhouse. The guys were awesome. A lot of fun. And that was the end of my career right there. My body couldn't take anymore, man. My hamstrings was, I was tearing hamstrings and my groins just wasn't doing right. And so it was time. The good Lord, gave me a great run, and it was time for me to come on back.
All right. So you played a long career, a lot of cities, a lot of teams, a lot of, made all-star teams, gold gloves, made some good money, all this. Had a good career. Give me your top, I don't know, 3 pitchers and 3 – I tell you what, tell me 3 pitchers you hated to face. Who were 3 guys that when you saw it penciled in, you knew it was going to be a long day at the office?
This little guy, but he wasn't little. Played for the Colorado Rockies, Jason Jennings. Mm-hmm. He was one of them. The closer for the Dodgers, Kelly Jensen. Mm-hmm. He had my number. I was like 1 for 11 off him. He had my number. I can't think of another one right now offhand. Yeah, but those 2 guys gave me a fit, man. I'm like, geez, almighty, again. But, yeah.
Who are the top not your maybe your favorite or maybe what you just feel your top from your era playing in the major leagues? Who were your guys that you say were the top major league players in that area? I know you play with, you talked about Manny Ramirez and you talked about Tomei and Mauer and all those guys. Who were the top? If you just had to throw out a list, you don't have to, just a random list. It doesn't have to be specific. I know you don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but you play with a lot of guys.
Nah, but if I'm going defensively and offensively, I'm going Ichiro Suzuki.
Right.
He was unbelievable. You talking about another one? I can go. Of course, you can't leave out Derek Jeter. You can't leave, man. The list can't be 3 guys. I mean, go Ken Griffey. Right. You want to go Dustin Pedroia. You got Robinson Cano, Brandon Phillips. I mean Joe Mauer. I mean, you could just Carlos Beltran. Carlos Beltray. Those. I mean, you just stop at 3 guys. The list goes on and on that I had a chance to, go on Nike trips with, play All-Star games with, and watch the Albert Pujols and watch these guys just dominate the game and do wonderful things, man. And I was just glad to be a part of the era that I was in.
So you talked about still doing work, flying back and forth to Arizona. Major League Baseball should have kicked off, a month ago, really. So what do you see? I don't want any inside intel or anything like that, but just from your perspective, what do you see as far as, are we going to get some Major League Baseball this year? What's the parameters going to be? How are they going to work it? Are they going to shorten the season? Because I know the fans are hungry for it. I mean, people were watching.
Yeah, the fans hungry.
The people, 6 million people watched the Michael Jordan story the other night,
Yeah.
And normally we'd have Sunday night baseball. Or that thing would be pushed out. It brought in because people are hungry for sport. NFL draft last night. Everybody's watching the NFL
Yeah.
draft because we're hungry for something to do with sports. Because this should be the time of the year where March Madness, NBA playoffs, Major League Baseball, the Masters,
Yeah.
NASCAR, Olympics. This
Exactly.
is the best time of year, and we have nothing. So,
Yeah.
what do you see far as the future in baseball, and maybe a timeline, or is it going to happen this year?
Well, I can't get in depth with it. In about another 30 minutes, we got another front office phone call, Zoom call. We're going to go over some more other scenarios. MLB, Tony Clark and MLB is doing a great thing right now, man. They putting all kind of different scenarios together. And I know they put out everybody playing in Arizona and all this. They have all kind of different scenarios they're trying to come across, and they try to make sure they dot their I's and cross their T's. We're not going to put anybody in harm's way of this pandemic. I know everybody wants sports, and even if we had all this going on right now, I still think Michael Jordan would have had 6 million people watching this story. You're talking about the greatest of all time and the greatest of all time. So still the highest paid selling shoe 25 years after you retire, really. So, you know what, man? I know everybody trying to get back to baseball and get to this and that, but I can't really say. At this point in time, all I can give you is, God slowed this world down for a reason. We all looking for different ways out to find some kind of enjoyment, man. But right now we in this pandemic, we got to slow ourselves down, and everyone take a big deep look at themselves and get a chance to hone in on their family or other skills or learn some other traits or whatever the case may be, or read the Bible or whatever the case may be. And right now we searching for things that we don't even have an answer for. So right now everybody's on the standstill. We're trying to rush back, and we rush back plans in baseball fields and football fields, and next thing you know, and this outbreak breaks out even worse. Then we set another year back. So right now, MLB just throwing out different scenarios, man, and see which way we can go. And if it gets started, when it gets started, we don't know yet. So we'll see. I guess we're going to talk about it in about another 30 minutes. And, another 30 minutes, and we're going to see which way we go or what we're going to do. But other than that, man, MLB is doing a great job of trying to make sure it's the best situations for fans, for the players, and it's safe for everyone. We can enjoy the game without any precautions or anybody worrying, because you don't want to put nobody in harm's way and mess up the sport and get sued. Anything can happen. So, we make that move. They want to get all their T's crossed and all their I's before we do anything.
Good deal, man. Well, Orlando, I know you got another Zoom call to get on, a lot more priority than this one. I appreciate you talking to us. We knew about you way back in the day, watched your career go up. You had a great career, All-Stars, Gold Gloves, good citizen in the community, doing a lot of good work like that. I appreciate you taking this time. Look forward to seeing some baseball here soon, like you said, in a safe and productive manner. But all of us are hungry to see, the high school kids that's lost out on their season. Hopefully they can get some summer ball programs going, some Major League Baseball going, and get America's game rolling again. But I want to thank you for this time. Hope to meet up with you at some point and shake your hand. And I enjoyed the interview.
Oh, man. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it, brother.
All right, buddy. Thank you, man.
Thank you.